Okay, so here's something to think about. Every single result in your life right now, good or bad, can be traced back to a decision you made.
That's a bold statement, but it makes sense. Decisions are like the building blocks of everything we experience.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is that most people don't even realize how they're making those decisions. They think they're in control, but so often they're just reacting
Reacting to what, though?
to emotions, to their environment, to habits they've built over time. It's like they're on autopilot and they don't even know it.
That's such an interesting way to look at it. So, you're saying most decisions aren't as intentional as we think?
Not even close. Most decisions are automatic, shaped by factors we're not even aware of. And that's where things get tricky. Because if you're not aware of what's driving your decisions, you're not really in control.
So, what does it take to actually make better decisions?
It starts with awareness. You have to understand what's influencing you, whether it's your emotions, your environment, or even the people around you.
That makes sense. But I feel like most people don't stop to think about that in the moment.
Exactly. Most people make decisions based on how they feel right now, without considering the long-term consequences.
And that's where the problems start, right?
Absolutely. Short-term thinking almost always leads to long-term consequences.
Can you give an example of that?
Sure, let's say you're trying to save money, but you decide to splurge on something because it feels good in the moment. Or maybe you avoid a tough conversation because it's uncomfortable. In both cases, the short-term decision feels easier, but it creates problems down the line.
So it's like trading short-term relief for long-term cost.
Exactly. And that's where people get stuck, because the short-term option always feels more appealing.
So how do you break out of that cycle?
You have to start thinking ahead. Ask yourself, what does this decision lead to? Instead of focusing on how it feels right now, think about where it's taking you.
That's such a simple but powerful shift.
It really is. And it's a discipline because it forces you to pause and think before you act.
And most people don't do that, right?
No, they don't. Most people react quickly without creating any space between impulse and action.
So slowing down is actually a strength when it comes to decision making.
A massive strength. That pause is where better decisions happen.
So what are the biggest factors that influence our decisions?
3 things: your environment, your habits, and your standards.
That ties back to what we talked about in the last episode.
Exactly. Nothing exists in isolation. If your environment is chaotic, your decisions will reflect that. If your habits are weak, same thing. And if your standards are low, you'll accept less for yourself. Exactly.
So decision making is really a reflection of everything else in your life. That's such a powerful idea.
It is, because it means improving your decisions isn't just about thinking harder. It's about upgrading your systems.
So better systems equal better decisions.
Exactly.
What's a practical way for someone to start improving their decision making?
Use a simple filter.
What kind of filter?
Ask yourself, does this move me forward or hold me back?
That's so clear,
It cuts through all the emotional noise.
because it forces you to think long term, so every decision gets tested against that question.
Exactly. Yes,
That alone would improve a lot of people's choices.
massively. Most bad decisions don't survive that level of scrutiny.
That's true,
And over time, asking that question builds awareness.
which leads to better habits,
Exactly.
which leads to better outcomes.
That's the chain.
So if someone feels like their life isn't where they want it to be,
They need to look at their decisions.
not their intentions.
Exactly. Intentions don't create results. Decisions do.
That's such a strong distinction.
It is, because people often think, I want to do better, but they don't actually change what they're doing.
So nothing changes.
Exactly.
So better decisions require honesty,
Complete honesty with yourself.
and that's uncomfortable,
It is, but it's necessary.
because without honesty,
You stay stuck in the same patterns.
so awareness, filters, and honesty, that's the foundation of good decision making.
And consistency.
Right? Because one good decision doesn't change your life.
Repeated decisions do.
That's been the theme throughout this conversation.
Always.
Small actions, repeated daily.
Create massive outcomes.
So decision making is really about repetition and direction.
Exactly.
So if someone wants to improve their life,
They need to start improving their decisions.
one decision at a time.
Exactly.
All right, next episode.
Next, we're diving into identity, because ultimately your decisions are driven by who you believe you are.
That's going even deeper.
It is,